vote 2 on site, so we're keeping it quite balanced. And to kick us off, we are going to begin with Claudia, who's going to talk about the interoperability, the Interoperable Europe Act. Claudia, can you hear us?
I can.
Wonderful.
I cannot see you, but I can hear you. I hope that you can see me and hear me.
We see you just fine.
Great. So I will share my screen, and you'll tell me if everything is working.
It's loading. That's it. Yeah. Voila. We see it in presenter mode. It looks great.
Okay. Very good. Okay, then. Excited to be here. And I heard that these prior sessions were very productive. So this puts the bar very high for me. I'm here to present the Interoperable Europe Act, but to make it a bit more focused on the session for today and the once only technical system also. We made the presentation a bit regarding the policy approach to interoperability solutions. So what does this mean specifically? Yes, you can see everything correctly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, very good. So as you know, we have the targets. So from we have this compass, the report on competitiveness, the report on competitiveness, and everything that is that basically puts the targets for 2030. And for that, I have this slide that I actually really like it, since it gives a little bit the path to interoperability. In what sense? In the sense of, I'm really sorry about this. In the sense of we have digital sovereignty, so which means that citizens are empowered, let's say, and entrepreneurs with the ability to act independently in the digital world. We see this also with the AI Act and these AI chatbots developed with EU values that help users find the right service. I put here some figures for you to see how much it is significant, the access and the control over personal data for member states regarding the citizens and the AI. And digital sovereignty on one side, we have this the target set out for 2030, and these we have these advancing pillars in digital public service delivery. And here, as you can see, we have the source, so the Digital Economy and Society Index, DESI, and here we have how we are doing, let's say, regarding the average of the EU regarding digital public services. On public services for business, citizens, e-health records, and the EID scheme. And this is where interoperability is key and fundamental to facilitate seamless European digital single market. And how does it do it? It does it through secure and efficient data exchange. It makes it also through cross-border services that actually accommodate also non-national users authentication, for example. And it also helps make the exchange of data automatic and helps users access services in a more efficient way and seamless. It takes a bit of time, but eventually it will go. I hope that now they are not going to start talking. Okay, so what is the Act in a nutshell? So, sorry about this. In a nutshell, the Act is, this is a slide that basically we use always to explain it, what it is in terms of what, why, who, and when. So it entered into force last year in April. And the reason why it came into force is to make people think interoperable before taking any decisions. So that way, the interoperable by default make better public services. For who it is intended, for union entities and public sector bodies. And the reason why is, so what does it imply? It implies digital public services and their systems. As it is here in the slide, in a nutshell, the Act helps EU and member state administrations deliver more connected digital services, both to citizens and businesses across Europe. So we have here an effective cross-border deliverable of digital public services through what? Through 4 very specific categories: a structured and co-owned EU cooperation, these very famous mandatory interoperability assessments, also the interoperability support, so these policy supports that I will explain a little bit. But more importantly for this session now, it's the recognized reusable interoperability solutions. This is the overview of the main elements in the Act, and we will touch upon some of them more than in the others. So we have these recognized reusable interoperability solutions. Here they touch upon the EIF, which is being now, it's in an ongoing process. We already have an expert group that is set up, and it's going to be revised, and we expect to have a new EIF in 2026. Being the last revision 2017, the Interoperable Europe solutions, the mandatory share and reuse, and all of this is, of course, has this host, which is the portal, the Interoperable Europe portal. The interoperability support and this, the strengthening interoperability support has to do with a lot with GovTech and interoperability regulatory sandboxes. This is very important also for solutions, because it is this experimentation part of the exercise that is important for public administrations. And GovTech, because it also implicates public sector. And policy implementation support projects through trainings and peer reviews. So this is very important. The structured and co-owned cooperation is the governance, so in which we have different bodies, the board, the community, and the community is very important because it's through the community that not only the community is part of the decision-making process, but it will be through the community that many of the sub-communities, let's say, or even let's say citizens at large, will be able to give, to show their expertise and to give inputs or insights depending on the different requests by the board. We have the national competent authorities and the national coordinators. Then the agenda sets a bit the pace, so gives a strategy to the board of what is going to be more or less strategically discussed. And then we have the monitoring. The monitoring is also here very important, and it's very much related, this kind of a cross-cutting activity. It's very much related not only to the sandboxes, but also to the solutions, as well as to the share and reuse, and all of this. So the monitoring has a totally new scheme that has been co-created with member states and other stakeholders. And I mean, according to Article 20 of the Act, this new monitoring mechanism needed to go towards a machine-readable format. And we actually worked on that, and then the mandatory interoperability assessment. So this digital ready policy making and this interoperable by default is this thing of thinking interoperability first before making any policy will feed the data that the monitoring will need to collect. So here we have like the difference between interoperability solution and Interoperable Europe solutions. I'm sorry for the noise. Interoperability solution, as you can see, as a definition, you have this reusable asset concerning the 4 different elements of interoperability, and this enables cross-border interoperability. And the Interoperable Europe solutions are a bit different in the sense that it's the board that identifies them and recommends these solutions. giving them the label of Interoperable Europe solution. So there are many solutions that are interoperability solutions that might not be Interoperable Europe solutions. So it's the board that agrees on the criteria of eligibility for the label of Interoperable Europe solutions. Here we have a slide that puts a bit, shows the difference between both of them. I'm a bit, I think I'll be over time, like 5 minutes, not more, don't worry. We have interoperability solutions on one side. I have put here the different, the slides will be made available for you after the session, so also no worries. So on one side, we have the interoperability solutions, and let's say all the articles that encompass what does it mean as such. So it means to be shared and reusable across different administrative levels, also to be to facilitate the successful implementation of policies, also address the different levels of cross-border interoperability, as well as encompassing conceptual frameworks, also architectures like EIRA, technical specification standards, and so on. And on the other side, we have these interoperable Europe solutions, so these labeled solutions, labeled by the board, as said before. So it is an interoperability solution, let's say, that has undergone evaluation and received this label, so this recommendation label from the board. It is important also to know that this condition is not permanent, so this is always under revision, and the board reserves also the right to review and revoke this label, and this is in Article 32 of the Act. It also addresses the effects of cross-border interoperability and the remaining barriers that are not yet tackled. And this is Article 23. The initial target to have these interoperable Europe solutions is 20 solutions out of all the ones that we have. I can tell you, for example, for now, we have in the portal published around 2,000 solutions. So what is this policy approach? So the policy approach is this objective that we have when we have this policy approach regarding the solutions. It's, we try to see the objectives of it. So what is the focus? So the focus is to solve something that is an issue that regards interoperability, of course, then identifying solutions that will be essential to implement cross-border interoperability, also make it more efficient, and also avoid the duplication and this reinvention of frequently used solutions, also speeding up this implementation of new public services, and of course strengthening interoperability across the public sector. This is what the Interoperable Europe Act is all about, is about the public sector. The role of the label is the fact that it will remain a recommendation, a bit like the EIF. So the framework, it has 47 recommendations and is very important as a model. This will be kind of the same in a different way. It will help in awareness raising of recommended solutions. It will also have a certain reassurance of the product. So once you have this labeled solution, you'll understand that it went through a process and criteria. So I already told you about a target of approximately 20 solutions, and no need to label solutions that are already recognized in another context. So this is similar to the wallet, the EU Digital Identity Wallet Toolbox that we have here. So the benefits are many, as you can see here. I can go very quickly through this. So it improves communication, of course. It provides the public sector bodies with very clear guidance regarding interoperability solutions that are recommended. And this will, of course, simplify the decision-making processes that many times are more difficult when we don't have clear guidelines. It also encourages open specifications, and this is very important in the sense that it supports the promotion and also the adoption of the open source specifications. It also promotes standardization, so promotes the establishment of this common framework for interoperability. So this is also very important. It enhances credibility and also facilitates selection and reusage. So the share and reuse, which is also part of the Act. Here, okay, I think we talked about this, so I can go through this. So we analyze the act, we have the stakeholders that are also always consulted, and then we finally have an agreement of the criteria by the board. This is very important in the sense that this is the roadmap that makes us finally get to what we have now as criteria for these solutions. So possible criteria, because they are not yet set in stone. So it's user experience. So this is very important. That's why it's so important to have, for example, events like the ones that we are having now, because we can exchange, we can understand what the needs are, and we can understand what is more important for the user. Also the reusability, to the fact that it is secure and private, the fact that it's also interoperable by design. This is very important to have interoperability at first. The efficiency and also the reliability and the sustainability. But it's also important to say, and it's in very small lettering in red below, solutions that undergo this process, and don't worry, I'm almost done, it doesn't guarantee adoption of it as a labeled solution. So what is the contextual information? So it is the fact that it's in line with the agenda. So I don't know if, I mean, perhaps you still have in mind the agenda sets a bit the pace and the strategy that is, so there's a consultation for the agenda, and then it's the agenda goes to the board. And it has to be consistent with the other existing interoperable Europe solutions. And once the board has this agenda that had been through the process of consultation, the board will finally award the label of Interoperable Europe solution, and to a solution whose primary objective is to resolve a problem, an existent problem of interoperability between different European public administrations. And regarding the future, because I think this is also important here, is that regarding innovation measures and the regulatory sandboxes, so the innovation measures shall contribute to the development of existing or new interoperable Europe solutions, and also may involve GovTech actors, so this is also very important. And the regulatory sandboxes should contribute to the development and also to the update of interoperable Europe solutions through the experimentation that regulatory sandboxes encompass. This is just an information regarding the Digital Europe program. And what's next is not totally updated, and it's my last slide, exactly. So we already had the first board meeting. The rules of procedure and the guidelines for the assessments were adopted. This was on the 4th December of last year. For this first quarter, we had the adoption of the rules on the assessments. So the guidelines had been adopted by the board in December, and on the 11th of January, yes, 11th of January this year, the assessments became mandatory, and the national competent authorities had to be nominated. And there was also created a space in the portal for the interoperability assessment, and also this online tool. So it's easy to go and understand how to fill in an assessment, for example. We are also always available to, of course, do workshops or go through. We are usually consulting member states and different stakeholders or national competent authorities that face difficulties while filling out the assessment forms. Then on the second quarter of 2025, so this is the 20th of May, there will be the second board meeting in which the Interoperability Regulatory Sandboxes Implementing Act will be presented and hopefully approved. And finally, for the last 2 quarters of 2025, we will have the adoption of the agenda after consultation, and also the first monitoring results of the new monitoring mechanism that I don't have time to present it now. And this will be presented in a very beautiful and hopefully useful report, an annual report that will also be presented to the European Parliament and to the Council. And it is everything for now. I am available for any questions if needed.
Thank you very much, Claudia. So we will indeed share your contact details of the presentations. Anyone who wishes to get in touch and learn more, especially about the assessments, they'll be able to do so. But thank you very much for taking the time. We didn't hear any noise in the background, so don't worry, it came through super clear here. Nils, you're still with us, so I guess your missus hasn't gone into labour, which is good for us. Still has some more time.
So far, so good, Tom.
So far.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah. Voila.
Thanks, Tom. We're going to do a couple of minutes now on EUDI and OOTS. So EUDI being the digital wallet and the once-only technical system. We're going to start with a little demo from me to show how the end user experience could look like. And then Pim's going to walk you through the work that the contact group has done on the various different synergies between the two projects. But I think one of the key things is obviously making sense of how it's going to affect citizens, why it makes sense for citizens to have options, and what it could look like in terms of a journey. So in front of us, we have a portal, Tertiary Education Study Financing, one of our favorite procedures. We're going to kick off the application, and any of you that know the once-only technical system journey well will know that one of the elements of friction we have is sign-in. Okay, because we have to sign in typically to the portal and then to the preview space, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, we do have to go through a significant amount of authentication screens, and that can cause a little friction. So one of the huge assets that the wallet will bring to the experience of using once-only is obviously one-click authentication. So we'll be able to authenticate to any portal in Europe using our EUDI wallet, and then we'll be able to pass the attributes from that wallet directly into the procedure and the application we're doing. Now, obviously, typically you have some kind of portal, you have to fill in some information, but obviously what we're concerned about is evidence. So in our case, we have 3 evidences we need to provide in the context of this procedure. And the trouble is, my bachelor's degree, I know I have it on my wallet, but my secondary education diploma, I don't. So in this case, I can actually use OOTS. So I've been given 3 options. Do I want to add from the wallet? Do I want to retrieve it online? Or do I want to upload it from my device? So in this case, I can use OOTS to go and get that evidence. In this case, we're going to pretend that we went to secondary school in Belgium. I'm going to be able to then be redirected to a preview space in Belgium, where I can verify and preview the data before agreeing to exchange it. And one of the key synergies we see here is that the user might say to themselves, actually, this is an evidence that might be useful to me in the near future. Let me add it to my wallet. So if we have, and building on the work that we're doing in the context of evidence mapping and the standardization subgroup, all this to be able to create these kind of verifiable credentials and standardized versions of evidences, the user should have this flexibility to be able to retrieve structured data or to be able to add it to their wallet. So in this case, I can view the data too, and I can agree to share the evidence from Belgium, in this case, to the German portal. So I have a couple more evidences to add. And as I mentioned, my secondary school diploma, my university diploma, is actually already in my wallet. So if I wanted to, I can directly share the data from there. And then I can finish off this procedure by, in this case, uploading an evidence from my device. So authentication is key. Being able to give the user option to retrieve data that they don't have or to add data from that they retrieve through OOTS to their wallet, all in the context of one procedure, and allowing us to do that fast authentication should really improve some of the key parts of the user journey for our users and allow them to complete these applications much quicker online or with the choice given to them. So that was a quick overview in terms of what it could look like from a UX perspective. Now, Pim, I think, is going to walk you through a little more detail in terms of the synergies agreed within the contact group. Pim, I pass the floor to you.
Okay, Nils. Yeah, we're just doing a switch between the software. So, Nils, thank you very much for that very clear walkthrough and demonstration. And we're delighted to have next Pim, who's going to take us further. Oh, brilliant. So you just click this one. Voila. There we go. Don't get too comfy.
Okay, thank you, Nils. So indeed, Nils showed you the so-called UX synergies. So this is one of the categories of synergies that we have been looking at in the past 2 years. And I will give you a bit of more general context about the synergies in general and also the so-called investment synergies, which is the second category of synergies. For information, this work on synergies has been done in the so-called OOTS EUDI wallet synergies and contact group. It's a long title. I need to rehearse it before every presentation. But so it's essentially a group of OOTS people and EIDAS people who are looking at how you can make the best out of the two systems, right? How can they reinforce each other? And Nils just showed you one case where if you're in a user situation on a portal, you basically have the choice of using either one system or the other, and you can use the wallet as an alternative way of identifying yourself. So instead of using the EIDAS nodes, you would use personal identification data on your wallet. So those are the two areas that has been on scope for the contact group. So the contact group itself is coordinated by the Commission, but the experts are representatives of the member states. So there's about 18 member states represented. So not all, but the majority. And as I said, it's a mix of EIDAS experts and OOTS experts. The contact group has been running for about 2 years. The first year was essentially identification. So we came up with a list of synergies in 2 groups. So the one on the left is what you just saw, the so-called UX synergies. And the second is the list of so-called investment synergies. Now that work is reported in the interim report, which was published in March last year. So roughly after a year of running the contact group. So you can find a link to that report in the on the OOTS hub. And there's currently a final report being written, which should be available within a month or so. It's being worked on. But importantly, the last year we did not basically stop the work or pause the work, but in fact we moved to a second phase. So rather than just identifying synergies, we wanted to actually test or validate the synergies, in particular the investment synergies. Since the UX synergies are sort of obvious, you saw the demo that Nils just did, they're sort of super uncontroversial. Nobody has any doubts whether they make sense. Whereas for the investment synergies, this was not obvious to everybody. So therefore, in the last year, what we did was to implement a so-called proof of concept in which we implemented the top 3 investment synergies. So not in PowerPoint, not in Figma, but in a sort of an early prototype, combined with the actual OOTS common services, the production instance of it, to actually validate that those synergies are not theoretical, they're not questionable, but they're actually solid and ready to be used. So that work has been done in the past year. So the first group of synergies, these slides are here for reference for you. Essentially, this is what you saw in the demo of Nils. So this is the OOTS journey, the 9 steps, and there are these yellow boxes added for particular user experience synergies, and those are the ones that you just saw in the clickable demo that Nils just provided. So I'm going to skip through those slides. You can look at them later when you get access to the slide deck. And now move on to the second category, which are the investment synergies. So here the investment synergies, what is meant by that? This was really the question, like we are collectively paying for a new system called OOTS. We spent a lot of money getting it up and running, operating it. Now we're going to build yet another new system, the EUDI wallet, with all the supporting infrastructure. How can we make sure that what we invested as taxpayers in this first system, so that the second system does not make any unnecessary costs, does not generate any unnecessary costs. In particular, since we're in a period when budgets are under pressure everywhere. So the synergies were actually, I will show you what those synergies are, and then later also give the status of the potential future of actually delivering these synergies in the actual EUDI ecosystem. The synergies were actually implemented between the publication of this interim report, so which was March last year, and November last year. So we had the last projectathon of last year was in Brussels in November, and we had so there 3 days, and we had the day 0, in which we had a contact group meeting, and also a public demonstration. So many of you who were at the projectathon were in the room where we actually demonstrated these synergies, and many others of you participating remotely. So I'm going to basically not show the demo. You can go to the site of the contact group. So there's videos of the 3 synergies that we implemented, and as mentioned, they're not Figma, they're not PowerPoint, but they're actually prototype code. And all the backend parts, the access to the common services, we're using the actual OOTS common services as they are used today in production. So there's nothing experimental about that part. So as a reminder on how this was received. So as mentioned, we have 18 member states represented in the contact group. 9 of them provided feedback, and this feedback was very high. So we ranked them out of a score of 1 to 10. So the average was 9, which is quite exceptional. So what were those synergies actually about? So there were 3. So the first one, so there's a lot of jargon in EUDI, so apologize for that, but the first concept is so-called QTSP, so these are trust service providers. So these are sort of value-added service providers, and they are organizations which can, for example, issue so-called attestations, so the data structures that you would have in your wallet, so they can issue them. But rather than just issuing, there's also a potential service where they provide a verification service. So if you have some data or claimed data or data to be confirmed about a citizen, these service providers could actually go to the authentic sources with those attributes and get a confirmation whether or not that is actually true for you. So the demo that we demonstrated was for an actual diploma. It was of a user. The user only had like a PDF version of a diploma from their university. And these QTSP allowed the user to upload the PDF, basically extract some data like the issuer, the courses followed, the academic title that was issued, etc. Then contact the authentic sources, and then receive from the authentic sources the confirmation. So what we implemented was actually both reuse of the discovery. So the QTSP could actually search the issuer of this diploma in the common services. So, and then having found that issuer, if the issuer supports a so-called verification service, they can issue a request to that service to get the confirmation whether actually the data that's in the uploaded PDF actually matches the data held by the authentic source. So it shows the reuse of both the common services for discovery, in this case not discovery of an evidence provider but of a verification service. And we also reused parts of the exchange data model. So we used e-delivery, and we also reused the data models, schemas, and exchange protocol that we also use in EDM. So for those who have an OOTS implementation today, adding functionality like this to their running access points, their running intermediary platforms would be a fairly simple exercise, since it's just reusing data structures, protocols, access points that they already have. So that was Synergy 4. Synergy 5 only reuses the discovery functionality. So this is functionality for discovering issuers. So for example, if you want to find an issuer of your diploma, just as in OOTS today, you can look up the requirement in the evidence broker. From the requirement, you can find the evidence providers or the data services. So we can use the same logic, and even the same, it's implemented using the same service to find issuers. And this demo was actually integrated with a wallet, open source wallet implementation. It was integrated in a wallet. So the user could actually, basically from the wallet, find the issuer, all using the interfaces of the common services, and get an issued attestation directly. So that was the second synergy. And the third one is the reuse of the semantic repository. And actually this was mentioned at various points today. Especially if we move to structured data, also in OOTS, for example, it's for data like diplomas. We actually did a lot of work on it in previous projectathons. Then it would be nice if those data models that are used for attestations in wallets are the same as the data models that we use in OOTS, so that we have shared semantics and also shared backend systems. And we can build on shared models for all of them. So these are the three synergies. They were all implemented, and as you saw, very well received by the member states who viewed the demo on the November projectathon. So the status of this work is, of course, the next step is what does this mean for the wallet ecosystem? Some of you may know the EIDAS regulation was published last year, but it has to be followed by a sequence of implementing regulations that actually provide more details on how this ecosystem and how the wallet itself and all the functionality around it is to be implemented. And one of those implementing regulations that will follow is the one actually covering all this functionality. So and the status is that this work has progressed a lot. And actually we also know that many member states, also in the comitology meetings, reiterated the importance of the synergies, particularly the investments made. So this was discussed in the comitology process. And it's likely that very soon there will be a final version of that implementing act, but it's still formally in the comitology process, so that the final version is not available yet. So that's the status on the synergies.
Okay. Tim, thank you very much. And as well to Nils, I guess, is offline. Thanks, Tim. Okie dokie. And I think indeed of the critical importance there that we are ensuring that we're making maximum value of all investments that are made, and that we're reaping the benefits and not duplicating work. So to carry on this section of the agenda, we're going now to switch to the specific Lithuanian context and to the work undertaken in SEMIC in particular. So we're delighted to have Martynas Mockus, who's Senior Data Architect at the State Digital Solutions Agency, who's going to take us through some of the synergies between once only and the work undertaken in SEMIC by Lithuania. So, Martynas, thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so excited actually to be in the front of such beautiful community and strong community, especially in these, let's say, challenging global times when we need to have very strong Europe, independent Europe. And I believe that everyone here is like true European, because what you're doing is very valuable. And I really respect what you are doing because still there exists quite fragmentation in Europe. There are barriers. When we want to move to work, to study in Europe, still we have problems. For example, myself, I was studying in Italy. I came with my wife for registration, and officers, they were joking, you know, you are not married according to Italian law in Italy. So during your study, you can marry here another wife. Yeah, at that moment, of course, it sounds very funny. And still my wife was standing next to me. But actually, if it also demonstrates what problems we have if we want to legalize, let's say, our families when we travel, when we study, or making business. So what you are doing, you're solving those problems. So thank you so much for what you're doing. And today I will present you actually what we are doing. I'm working also with the guys who are doing OOTS, but myself, I am participating in another project. We started those two projects in the same room, but now colleagues, which are very beautiful, they have moved to even another floor, and we don't see so often them. But what we are doing, when they ask what you are doing, they call us unofficially like SEMIC, because we are speaking about some semantic stuff, about technical standards, and nobody understands what it is. So they ask, can you explain in simple words what you are doing? So in general, we are doing homework. We are saying that we are doing homework for you, because if you haven't done your homework, you are not prepared, you do mistakes, and you cannot operate by 100%. So what is our homework about, the project about? So we are implementing European interoperability framework in public sector of Lithuania. What we are doing, we are enabling data as a service in data mesh network, which is, let's say, held by public institutions. And also, what is very nice that we are continuing and expanding our success story of open data project, because not so many years ago, Lithuania was sharing the last position, let's say, in the index of open data. And with the help of my colleagues and, of course, institutions which were participating in the project, now Lithuania shares the 7th place of open data index in the Europe. So it's, you know, from zero to hero. Our team has done that. So we took that very nice team, and we are expanding what we are doing. We are expanding not only to open data, but also to closed public data. And there, probably every one of you have seen this schema. I took the slides of European Commission, where if conceptual model is presented, basically those green are all of us. You are doing basically that blue stuff, And my team is organizing those 4 pillars, 4 important pillars. And here, by the way, it's very interesting that if we read the first letters of those pillars, like legal, organizational, semantic, technical, interoperability, we will get acronym LOST. So I don't want you to become lost. Even if we change a bit technical with the semantics, we will get lots, which I checked the vocabulary, means like a great deal. That's amazing. But because I have background of punk music, I found out that there is an American band, punk rock music, which is called like TSOL, which means like True Sounds of Liberty. And I want to present in this manner. So what we do in technical interoperability field, we have find out that basically in Lithuania, fintech sector is booming. We have like very strong positions in fintech sector, and we have found that open banking made like a success story for those fintech sector. And we have found that they are using open APIs for, let's say, connecting different applications, system to system. And also, we want to do the same in the public sector. So we decided that, okay, it's enough to have different kind of connections. Let's move to single type of connection where it's possible. And we are implementing universal APIs for all base registers. And also because it's very difficult when you are looking, especially when you don't know the sector, when you are looking where to find the data, it's also very important to have API gateway, so one catalog, one place where you can get all the data which you need. So we have published technical stuff, so it's specification for universal APIs, and we force all public institutions which has base registers to follow those rules. Also, we have developed a tool, let's say it's a data agent. Now it's working for Open Data Portal and the CAT API, but we are, let's say, constructing more functionality for this tool. We want also to operate it also as a data agent. So to provide, to translate from different formats, even different data services, to translate data to Open API specification and to provide according to this universal specification. What is the timeline? So it's a very ambitious plan. By the end of this year, we are planning to have main 15 information systems which have implemented those technical solutions for universal APIs. And by the next 4 months, it's a very ambitious plan. We plan to expand to 361. So basically, it will cover all base registers in Lithuania. Now, when we move to semantics, so to semantic interoperability, so we are one of those countries which have developed its local application profile, the CAT AP profile, which basically covers BIREC-DCAT specification for base registers, also translates and a little bit explains how to use open data, especially for high value data, all that important stuff, and also we have put some specific local context because we are collecting a little bit more information which is needed for the local context. Then what is quite unique maybe, what we do, we have drafted, but that was made during the Open Data Portal project. And it was quite successful. So we have designed a universal way how to describe data, because DCAT is about data catalogs, data services, but it doesn't go deeper to the data layer. So we have designed how we are describing in public sector the data. And we are mapping in that specification physical, logical, and semantic layers. It looks like very simple, like a table. You can use Excel, for example, Microsoft Office to do that. But we have like a huge book of rules, what to write in those columns. Then we, let's say, transform to CSV file and publish online. From that data, we generate, if it's mapped semantically, we generate linked government data, which is basically our goal, to have as much as possible linked data. Organization interoperability. So what we've done so far, we have developed a structure because, let's say 2 years ago, there was like Wild West, and everyone could do anything they like in public sector according to data governance. Of course, like GDPR made some regulation and so on, but there was no, let's say, central view how to manage, how to govern the data. So we, with the help of ministry and parliament, also support of parliament, we have established like a schema where we have data stewards now and, let's say, officers for digitalization, and they are cooperating between each other. There is also political layer. There is layer which belongs to the institution from which I'm coming. So we are implementing technical standards, monitoring, also we educate, also consult, and also we have like certification of information system, accreditation system, and we are also doing quality, like let's say checking quality, that everything should work very well. And there is base registers and other, let's say, field of public information sources from which data could be established. But we are focusing to base registers at this moment. And the last pillar, legal interoperability. So what is very nice that we have parliament support, our parliament and president. I'm very thankful for them, because I believe that 99% of them, they do not understand what thesaurus, ontologies, core vocabularies mean. But this is written in Lithuanian law. And Lithuania is one of the first countries, let's say, which has such kind of law. And there is a mandate for us to force public institutions to implement AIF, because they have to do everything that information systems could cooperate, communicate with other information union information systems. And one of the last slides, we have found that actually it takes time to write the contract if you want to get data from the public institution. And sometimes it takes even half a year to sign the contract. So we have decided, of course, to move to this 21st century, and we are implementing smart contracts for data access. What we are doing, we are using ODRL. This is a common, let's say, technical standard when you buy a movie to watch or you are listening for music. So it works according to this specification. So we haven't involved something new, so we just are using already existing technical solutions. And the last slide. So homework is important because homeworks, if it's done very well, it creates bridges for the future services, and it's very important. And I think if we work all together as a team, we can do very, let's say, good solutions for all European citizens and all of you. So thank you so much.
That was really great. Excellent. Thank you very much. You were saying APIs, and I was hearing IPAs, so clearly we're getting quite late in the afternoon as the focus begins to change. Okay, so we're going to move now to our final presentation, last but not least, or save the best till last, however you want to phrase it. And we're going to take a look into the future. We're delighted to have Mervi with us from the KEA Center in Finland, who's going to walk us through the OOTS 2.0 project and what that means for us here today. So, Mervi, thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mervi Kylmänen-Paakki, and I come from the National Coordination Team for SDG from Finland, the Development and Administrative Services Center. So this event is more about the onboarding and implementation of the current version of the OOTS. But of course, we also have to look into the future, and that is what our project is about. Our authority is leading, and my colleague Kirsi Mikkonen is managing the project that's called Nordic-Baltic OOTS 2.0. And we'll start with a video.
The Once Only Technical System 2.0 project is a Nordic-Baltic cooperation project funded by the Nordic Council of Ministers. The project focuses on future possibilities of smart transfer of structured data, as well as streamlining the user experience. Current version of the Once Only Technical System is quite complicated with many steps and logins, and it does not necessarily encourage the use of structured data. Project's goal is to identify technical, data protection, and legal challenges that would be barriers for the smart exchange of structured data. We will also test our future vision in practice using proof of concepts. If we can streamline the Once Only Technical System's user journey and make efficient use of structured data, we can offer faster and easier services. Structured data supports the smooth sharing and reuse of information, as well as digital development of services. With the Once Only Technical System 2.0, we are visioning advanced accessibility, interoperability, and efficiency of digital public services. For more information, go to sdgfinland.fi.
So, as you saw from the video, our project is a collaboration between all the Nordic and Baltic countries, and the working group for this project are the national coordination teams of these countries. And this is a group that has been together for several years already, and we've actually conducted one project previously that tested the current version of the OOTS and how it works. The project started a year ago, last spring, and we are aiming to have it ready by the end of 2026. And as you heard from the video, we get funding from the Nordic Council of Ministers for digitalization. So what we aim at in this project is to find out if and what kind of barriers there are for improving the user experience, and also the possible barriers there are for the exchange of structured data. We also look into how the OOTS architecture could effectively transfer structured data in the background and test it in practice with a proof of concept. What the project aims to deliver is, first of all, a service design report, including descriptions and visualizations of a simplified user journey, and also a visualization of data sharing tracking, as well as the synergies with the wallet. We also are going to deliver a legal study, which looks into how legal questions on Single Digital Gateway Regulation, the OOTS Implementation Act, and the GDPR are related to this new desired features and the simplified user journey. We are going to provide also some technical assessments, and finally a proof of concept that implements the suggested high-level architecture. So what's already been done is that we started last year with an ideation workshop. And in that workshop, we developed the initial concept for the project. The service design report is based on the initial workshop and its results, and it was completed in December last year. And also the legal assessment has been completed in the December of last year. We got the technical assessments ready in January 2025, so this year, and we are at the moment getting ready to start the proof of concept. This will be this month. So the first findings from these first deliverables that are already finalized. The service design report and technical assessments found several ways to improve the user experience and user journey. However, the legal assessment, well, it did find some possibilities, but there were also some of the solutions that were found in the service design report and technical assessments that would require changes to legislation. About the next steps, in the proof of concept, we will try exchanging structured data between Finland and Estonia in the first scenario. Let's see if any other countries are interested from our group as well. But at first we will start with Finland and Estonia. And we are going to try exchanging structured data between our countries to see how it could be utilized directly in the procedure portal in the future. And this proof of concept is now planned to be between a Finnish procedure portal and the Estonian study register. Just a few words about this cooperation. We see great benefits in this regional cooperation. We have a shared expertise and can address any technical, legal, or data protection challenges more effectively. And this also ensures that best practices can be shared and adopted across the region. We have a forum to develop ideas and ask questions, and thanks to this cooperation, we have a more unified approach and even to some extent timing. We are not similar member states, but we do have a lot of similar interests. This cooperation has been instrumental in the successful development and implementation of once only technical system in Finland. And we do want to thank all our partners in this group for the active participation and good discussions we've had so far, and hopefully we will also have in the future. So this was my short presentation. I won't keep you for long because I think we're already late, but here are some links so you can find more details from our website and also our contact details. If you have any questions, you can send them to us. So I want to thank yeah, just a thank you to the colleagues at the Commission and here in Lithuania, and I hope you all have a great evening and continuation of the event. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, Mervi, if you can stay here for a second, because I've just been asked if we can bring the speakers that we had today to the stage. So if you were on the stage today, if you could please make your way to the front. Hang on. And while we get this ready, something on in the background first. You can see here a Slido link, just while everyone gets ready, that for the social event later, if you would like to see a song that you like, or maybe it's a national song, you're welcome to submit it to the playlist. I don't know if we review that playlist or we just play it regardless. So but no restraint is urged. I'll leave this up here, and then please feel free to take a picture, to scan it, and to suggest your music. Okay. Okay. Can we? Is it possible to turn this off for a second, just to? Martin, you're looking very red.